Let me paint a picture for you. 5 years ago, you were making $42,000 a year. You were living in a small apartment, driving a used Honda Civic, and you remember thinking very clearly, if I could just make $70,000, I'd be set. I'd finally feel comfortable. I could breathe. Fast forward to today. You got the promotions, you worked the overtime. You landed the better job. You're now making $78,000 a year, almost double what you used to make. You upgraded to a nicer apartment. You got a newer car. You go out to dinner more often, and yet, here you are, watching a video about why you don't feel good about your money. Feeling the exact same financial tension you felt when you were making $42,000. Actually, if you're being honest with yourself, you might even feel more stressed now than you did back then. And here's the craziest part. You're already thinking it. If I could just hit 100,000, then I'd finally feel comfortable. Sound familiar? Yeah, I thought so. If you're someone who keeps hitting income milestones only to find yourself emotionally right back where you started, or if you've ever looked at your bank balance and wondered why it doesn't match how successful you're supposed to feel, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if this clicks. Because what you're experiencing isn't a personal failure. It's not that you're bad with money. It's not that you're ungrateful. And it's definitely not that you need to hustle harder and make even more. What you're experiencing is one of the most well-documented psychological phenomena in human history. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's called the hedonic treadmill. And it explains why more money never feels like enough. Here's the brutal truth. Your brain is not designed to let you feel satisfied for very long. It's designed to adapt. You get something better, your brain recalibrates. You earn more. Your brain resets the baseline. That raise that felt incredible in January, by July, it just feels normal. The car that made you feel successful the day you drove it home, give it a few months, and it's just your car. Your brain is amazing at survival, terrible at contentment. Psychologists have been studying this since the 1970s, when researchers first noticed something disturbing. People who experienced massive positive life changes, like winning the lottery, returned to roughly the same level of happiness not long after. Think about that, life-changing money. Back to baseline. Not because they wasted it. Not because they were irresponsible, but because the brain adapted. And here's the part nobody tells you. Your brain runs this same program on every single raise, every promotion, every lifestyle upgrade you've ever had. For most people, adaptation happens fast. Usually within 3 to 6 months. That means the income level you're chasing right now will feel completely normal shockingly soon after you reach it, and then your brain will want more. Not because you're greedy, but because that's how the treadmill works. Let's talk numbers. Because this is the point where most people say, okay, this sounds interesting, but surely more money does make life better. And to be clear, it does. Up to a point. In 2010, researchers analyzed hundreds of thousands of responses and found something that completely broke the internet when it came out. Emotional well-being rises with income, but only up to around $75,000 a year. After that, the curve flattens. More money still increases your life satisfaction on paper, but your day-to-day emotional experience stops improving in any meaningful way. Now, before you object, yes, that study is old. 75,000 doesn't go as far as it used to. Adjusted for inflation, that number today lands somewhere around 95 to 100,000. But here's the part nobody likes to talk about. Even when newer studies showed happiness continues to rise beyond that level, the returns are tiny, diminishing, painfully diminishing. Think of it like this. If moving from 50,000 to 100,000 brings you 20 units of happiness, moving from 100,000 to 200,000 might bring you 5. You doubled your income, probably doubled your stress, likely increased your hours, and you got a quarter of the emotional return. That's not a motivation problem. That's a math problem. This is called diminishing marginal utility, and it applies not just to money, but to your entire life. Now let me show you how this plays out in real life. Let's say you're 30 years old, making $60,000. After taxes, you're taking home around $47,000 a year, roughly $3,900 a month. Your essentials, rent, utilities, food, transportation, insurance come out to about $2,400. That leaves you with $1,500 of breathing room. It's tight, but it works. Then you get the raise. Now you're making $80,000. Your take-home jumps to around $62,000 a year, about $5,200 a month. And here's where the treadmill starts speeding up. You move to a nicer apartment, 500 more in rent. You upgrade your car. The payment is only 150 more. You eat out more because you're busy and successful. Add 300. You buy nicer clothes for work. Pick up a few subscriptions, maybe a gym membership you barely use. Nothing feels reckless. Everything feels deserved. But when the dust settles, your monthly expenses are now 3,800. Your breathing room? 1,400. You made 20,000 more a year, and somehow have less flexibility than before. This is lifestyle inflation. And it's the physical, financial manifestation of the hedonic treadmill. Your life didn't get better. It got heavier. Now here's the statistic that should really bother you. Recent surveys show that over half of people making between $100,000 and $150,000 a year describe themselves as living paycheck to paycheck. Read that again. 6 figures, stressed, not because they can't afford their lives, but because their lives expanded to consume everything available. They're not bad with money. They're just running faster on a treadmill with no finish line. And the treadmill is very good at convincing you that the next milestone is where peace lives. It isn't. Now, here's where this stops being abstract psychology and starts showing up very clearly in your bank account. Because the hedonic treadmill doesn't just live in your head. It leaves receipts. Let's talk numbers. Imagine you're 30 years old, making $60,000 a year. After taxes, you're taking home around $47,000. That's roughly $3,900 a month. Your essentials rent, utilities, groceries, transportation, insurance come out to about $2,400. That leaves you $1,500 of breathing room. You don't feel rich, but you feel, okay, you get a raise. Now you're making $80,000. After taxes, you're bringing home about $62,000 a year. That's over $5,000 a month. On paper, this is a massive win. But watch what happens next. You move into a nicer apartment, not because you need to, but because it feels like the next step. That's 500 more in rent. You upgrade your car. The payment is only 150 more per month. You start eating out more. You're busy now. You're successful. That's another 300. You buy nicer clothes for work. You pick up a few subscriptions. Maybe a gym membership you swear you'll use. Suddenly, your monthly expenses aren't $2,400 anymore. They're $3,800. Run the math. Your discretionary income after the raise? About $1,400. Less than before. You made $20,000 more per year and somehow ended up with less financial flexibility. That's not bad budgeting. That's the hedonic treadmill becoming physical. And here's the part that should genuinely scare you. According to recent surveys, more than half of people earning between $100,000 and $150,000 a year say they're living paycheck to paycheck. Read that again. 6 figures, financial stress. And before you assume it's just high-cost cities, the data adjusts for that. This is happening everywhere, even more unsettling. Over a third of people earning more than $200,000 say the same thing. At a certain point, you have to stop blaming the economy and start looking at psychology. These aren't people who can't afford their lives. They're people whose lives have expanded to perfectly consume whatever money is available. No margin, no buffer, no peace. They're running faster on the treadmill, convinced they're almost there, but the treadmill doesn't have a finish line. That's the trick. And here's where most financial advice completely misses the point. The solution is not never want more. It's not living like a monk. It's not killing ambition. The problem isn't desire. The problem is automatic desire. There's a massive difference between upgrading your life because you deeply value something and upgrading your life because that's just what happens when income goes up. One is intentional. The other is unconscious. The treadmill runs on autopilot. It assumes that more money should mean more stuff. That upgrades equal progress. That happiness is waiting at the next number. But your brain has already proven it doesn't work that way. Your past self chased the income you have now thinking it would feel different. It doesn't, and your future self will adapt just as fast. You can't win this game by running harder. You can only win by changing the rules. Here's the part that almost nobody talks about. The hedonic treadmill isn't evil. It's not broken. It's actually a survival mechanism. For most of human history, adaptation kept us alive. If our ancestors had stayed satisfied after one good hunt, they wouldn't have gone out again. If they'd stopped wanting more shelter, more food, more safety, they wouldn't have survived. The problem is this: we're now running ancient survival software in a world of artificial abundance. A world where every billboard, every ad, every scroll is designed to whisper the same message. You're close, but not quite there yet. And your brain, with its incredible ability to adapt to everything good that's ever happened to you, makes that message feel true. That's why you can double your income and still feel financially anxious. That's why people making six figures still feel behind. That's why you keep thinking happiness is one raise away. You're not broken, you're human. But being human also means you have something powerful: awareness. Once you understand that enough is not a feeling but a number, you can stop chasing a sensation your brain was never designed to give you permanently. You can decide consciously where the treadmill stops. You can track your lifestyle creep instead of pretending it isn't happening. You can choose to let future raises buy time, not just nicer stuff. You can invest in experiences instead of upgrades that fade into the background of your life. You can stop postponing happiness to some future version of yourself who earns more, owns more, and somehow feels different, because that version of you doesn't exist. He adapts too. The people who are genuinely content with their money aren't the ones who earn the most. They're the ones who broke the automatic link between income and identity, between progress and consumption, between success and constant upgrading. They learned something simple, but uncomfortable. Happiness doesn't live at the destination. It lives in the gap between where you are and where you're intentionally going. Progress feels good. Arrival fades fast. If you spend your whole life sprinting toward a finish line that keeps moving, you'll never feel rich, no matter how much you make. But if you step off the treadmill, not by killing your ambition, but by redirecting it, you start to win a different game. Instead of running faster to buy more things, you run to buy your time back. Instead of chasing the next number, you protect the margin in your life. And that's the quiet truth nobody sells you. Wealth isn't the moment you finally feel rich. Wealth is realizing you don't need to feel rich to live a rich life. If this video helped you see your money and your ambition differently, hit the like button and subscribe for more content that challenges how you think about money. I'll see you in the next one. And remember, enough is a number, not a feeling.